Bobin James. I work with Rose.
What's it? Fan?
Yeah. Few years of heat. Few minutes of heat. Sorry. I'm Bobin James. I work with Rolling Stone India as the deputy editor. My mandate is to kind of get the editorial stuff of the magazine going. That's it. That's about it.
Since when have you been involved in music? Firstly, rock music. Secondly,
I guess I wouldn't really say that I came from a very musical family. I mean, yes, my parents listened to music, but it was primarily music that the traditional music, I mean, Malayalam music, Malayalam film music, and all. My first tape I remember was a mixtape of reggae songs, which I happened to find in my first car. I think we had just got a car, and the person who used to own the car earlier had left that tape in the deck. And, that was my first exposure to anything non-Indian, any music that's non-Indian. After a while, I went to, there were a whole lot of, I mean, this is way before the internet era. I used to go to a regular music store in the neighborhood, and they would burn, not burn, sorry, they would make mixtapes for me based on whatever was the hits at that point in time. So I remember it used to contain things like Michael Jackson, the earliest Michael Jackson, not the pre-Thriller era. There's a song called Kabaka Shak by some. Sorry.
yeah.
There was a song called Kabaka Shaka by, I don't even know the name of the artist, but I still remember that. From mixed eras, mixtapes, I moved to my first tape ever was Thriller. Michael Jackson's Thriller, and I grew up on Thriller, a lot of Madonna, a lot of George Michael, Wham, because I was growing up in the 80s, and that was what was all around me. I would say that my first step into rock or anything slightly even more heavier than pop was Def Leppard's Adrenalize. I still distinctly remember picking it up, not because I knew the music, just because I loved the artwork on the cassette. It used to be that Magna Sound bookcase, and it was very cool, the blue color. And I just picked it up, and first time I listened to it, I was like, okay, this is kind of heavy, but it was cool. That's, I guess, my initiation into rock music. Yeah. The second part of the question was?
About rock. How did you get into rock music?
Yeah, I mean, that was how I got into it. I grew up in this place called Baroda in Gujarat, and growing up, I went to architecture college, and I used to have lots of friends in the fine arts department, fine arts college, and they somehow seemed to have the best music. So I would really credit all my friends in the fine arts department with introducing me to all the bands that I really know. I mean, Dream Theaters, Rush, Alice in Chains, whatever. I mean, I discovered them pretty late in life, like you might understand. I mean, I discovered them when I was in college. I discovered Rush when I was in college. But yeah, I mean, that's when I really got hooked onto music heavily. I started writing about music. I used to keep notes. I used to contribute for small college magazines. I used to contribute for Jam. Um, yeah, that's how it came through.
So, when did you move from Baroda to Bombay, and what is the transition there? To be more specific, can you be more specific on the music scene in general?
The music scene. See, the music scene in when I was coming from Baroda, I moved from Baroda to Bombay in either late '99 or 2000. And the music scene in Bombay, Baroda as such was, like I said, I mean, it was the guys in engineering colleges or the fine art colleges who really had access to rock music. I mean, they're the guys who had the CDs, and they're the guys who had the drum kits and the guitars. And so I would hang out a lot with these guys. I would sometimes jam in a band, things like that. Um, but there was never really a band that was playing original music. I mean, everyone was still doing covers. I mean, even if it's covers of Metallica or be it covers of Eric Clapton or Eagles, but they were still doing covers. So it was only when I shifted to Bombay that I saw that at that time I think Zero was just about starting off. I mean, they really getting to be known. I remember my first iRock here in Bombay, 2000 or 2001. still a lot of people who were booing bands who were playing original music as late as 2000. But I think in these 10 odd years, I've seen 9, 10 years, I've seen that massive change, massive shift in how people, the audiences are perceiving music. I mean, they're not, no longer are they asking for, hey, we want to listen to Eric Clapton, or we want to listen to Santana, or we want to listen to Megadeth. No, they're cool with original music as long as it's good. And I think bands like Zero and Acquired Funk Syndrome and people like those at those times, I mean, not to say that we haven't had bands creating original music earlier. I mean, you have had Millennium or 1380 who have created original music, or there's Rock Machine, for instance. But I think it's only in this new millennium that it's all coming together in a way where it's actually paying off for bands. I mean, I was speaking to Uday Benegal, and he was telling me about how when they were Rock Machine, um, they, it wasn't really something that paid. I mean, you couldn't really survive creating original music, which is why he went to New York and things like that. But now it's so easier, probably because it's easier to get your music across to people. It's easier to get your music heard by people across the world. But yeah, I mean, I've seen this massive change these 10 years. I mean, it's happened right before me. So yeah,
So tell us about the story of Rolling Stones in India.
Rolling Stone.
Yeah.
Rolling Stone. Yeah, Rolling Stone. We launched in March of 2008. I joined Rolling Stone in late 2007. We were just setting up the team, we were setting up. Even before you launch, you actually have to come up with dummy issues and things like that. I think again, Rolling Stone coming to India was a result or a reflection of the changes that's happening in the rock scene or in the music scene in general in India. Uh, when the proposal came in from Rolling Stone USA to MW.com, which is the publishing house here in India, to take up Rolling Stone, to take up franchising of Rolling Stone in India, it really made sense because something like a title like Rolling Stone might not have made sense 10 years back, but it's very relevant right now when the music industry in India is really starting to flower. It's really booming. I mean, I'm not really sure if it's quite the correct example, but I tend to uh, compare what we are going through right now to the 60s, 70s era in the US. I mean, you had a lot of independent labels coming up, you had a lot of artists coming up with their own original stuff, and you can kind of see that similarity here in India now. So, yeah, it really made sense for Rolling Stone to come in at that point.
So,
You want me to shut the window?
just, uh, what Rolling Stones has been here for over a year now.
Right.
So, what are the biggest hurdles that it has faced first? Do you want to ask the question, Lito? Do you want to answer?
No, please go ahead.
What are the biggest hurdles it has faced, and which are the successes it has had in these 1.5 years?
Hurdles. Hurdles in what sense?
Hurdles in the sense that the say the market is not was not ready firstly, or the market.
Okay, let me try to answer that. No, honestly, I don't think there's been any real hurdle as such, other than the economic recession that hit us. That's from the advertising marketing point of view, which hit us in the last few months. But which, let me answer that first. I mean, the recession meant that you can really get a lot of money from sponsors for ads, which means that we couldn't really carry as many pages as we would love to. And one must realize that a magazine is kind of built on advertising. In the sense, uh, it costs 100 rupees a magazine uh, for you to buy it if you want to buy it off the stands. But the actual production cost of the magazine is much more than 100 rupees each magazine. And that money comes in not from the subscribers' money, not from the newsstand money, but it comes in from the advertising. So when advertising kind of trickles down, that means you have to kind of make some compromise somewhere, which meant that we kind of dropped a number of pages. I mean, we used to be about 116 or 132. We came down to about 100 pages. And we've just gone back now, starting September, we've gone back to 116. So that was one thing that we faced. But other than that, in terms of our readership, I think, like I said, I mean, it all fell together quite well. I mean, the magazine first came into the country because there was this market which could supply the content. There is enough buzz, there is enough music happening in the country which can really find its place in the magazine. So in that sense, I mean, there was absolutely no hurdles. I mean, I'm never running short for stories. I mean, in fact, there are times when I have to, not times, every month I have to hold back stories because I don't have enough pages. So in that sense, there's been absolutely no hurdles. On the other hand, what we also are trying to do, also trying to do is promote live music, and that can be done not as much as through the magazine as through live events. For that, again, it costs money. That's where there's been the slight hurdle of getting sponsors interested in it first, because nobody's been really doing maybe that particular kind of event earlier. So that's been one slight hurdle, but hopefully again we're kind of past it. We have enough live properties now. We have Rolling Stone Live, we have Rolling Stone Electro, we have a new one starting called Acoustic Adventures with Singer Songs. So we have our enough number of properties which is happening. So that is all intended to promote live music. So yeah,
Um, so,
the
okay,
successes,
huh?
the successes.
Yeah.
Um, Successes, I would say, there's one particular story that I keep looking back at. We carried it in November of last year. It was called 10 Artists to Watch Out For, which featured 10 artists slash bands, musicians, who we felt that these are guys who are going to be really big and we need to really promote them. And it really it really feels nice when these guys come back and say, "Hey, thanks for that," because now we are getting calls from certain clubs that wouldn't let us play there earlier. After that article appeared, certain XYZ club called us and said that, "Can you come and play?" So in that sense, I mean, it feels really good that hey, because of this one article, these guys are getting recognized. So, yeah, I mean that's what I hold dearest to.
Okay. So in all these years that you've been involved with rock music, uh, tell us about some of the bands that you've met, you've been involved with, say professionally or whatever.
Mhm.
But for example, like bands that you saw potential in the late '90s, early '90s,
Right.
and even bands today which you see are doing very good and
Indian bands, obviously.
yeah.
Uh, See, Mother Jane was a band that I first discovered way back in 2002. Again, thanks to my friends in the Fine Arts College in Baroda. And at that time, I don't think too many people knew of Mother Jane outside certain centers. Like, I mean, probably people knew about Mother Jane in a Bombay, or probably they definitely knew about them in the South. But when I look through the 2002 to 2009, those 7 years, the way they've grown is huge. I mean, it's an exponential growth. So that was awesome. I mean, that's one band that I really admire. I mean, purely because they've stuck together for a long, long time. And I mean, not to say that there aren't other bands that have stuck together, but this is a band that I've really seen grow in that sense. I mean, when I first was introduced to the band and the music in 2002, they were thick, I mean, not very known, but suddenly with the second album, 7 years later, boom, they're like right up there now. Well, Zero, my first gig of Zero in Bombay, I saw them on a boat gig, which was, I don't know who organized it. I think it was organized by either Bombay Rock or one of those guys. They hired a ferry, and we took this ferry off the gateway of India, went out into the sea, some 45 minutes, and you had Zero playing, you had another Pune band playing, I'm not really sure who, I really forget, a long time back. But Zero really rocked me again. I mean, at that point, they had just come out with their first album, I think, and that was awesome. And last year when I saw them play the last gig, you really felt sad that this was one band that really took original Indian rock to where it should be, and it really showed other bands the way that listen, if you don't need to be playing covers all the time to be famous. I mean, you go to a Zero gig, you'll see actually people singing along to their songs. I think Zero was one of the first bands which really managed to do that.
Uh, Talking about bands, what are your personal likes?
Uh, Actually, it's probably because of my work also and my interest too. I listen to a whole lot of stuff, everything from electro pop to rock, classic rock. My personal favorite remains classic rock. I mean, I'm essentially, I grew up on stuff from the 60s and the 70s, classic guitar based rock. That's what I essentially grew up on. But now I listen to a whole lot of stuff. I mean, everything from metal to jazz, a little bit of jazz. So like I said, electro pop, pop, not too much of punk, but yeah, quite a wide variety. I mean, if you want to name bands,
If you want to, that's fine.
uh, like I said, I mean, the essential bands that I grew up on, everything from Clapton, Who, Floyd, Doors, the classic guys, Megadeth, Metallica, Maiden. I mean, I'm putting all of them into classic rock. Right down to the newer guys, I mean, even though Dream Theater is not a new band, but I still consider Dream Theater to be a fairly newer band. Dream Theater is one of my favorite bands right now. There's Pocket Bantry, there's a whole lot of progressive rock actually. The Spock's Beard. These are the international bands. Indian bands, you have Mother Jane, Appeal. I really like what Raghu and Vasu are doing with their own bands. I think there again, this is probably the next step. I mean, what they are doing, getting a whole new Indian sound to music rather than when you still listen to a lot of Indian bands while they're playing original music, the music still sounds derivative. You'd probably still be saying, hey, that riff sounds like Metallica or that riff sounds like Megadeth. In that sense, the music is still kind of derivative. But these guys, Abhiels and Raghu Dixit projects or Swarat Mas, they're kind of taking it to the next logical level, which is again finding your own sound, I mean, finding your own language, finding your own sound. So I really admire them for that.
Since you're talking about variety of genres, there, I have met people, and personally also to some extent, I would, I would like to make this a question
Sure.
that you know there are people have been saying, and I have been saying that Rolling Stones has not stuck to only rock. They've expanded into hip hop and other stuff.
Right.
So, what has been the reason behind that?
Uh, See, when Rolling Stone started off in 1967, the International Rolling Stone USA, when they started off, um, I'm not really sure of the exact quote, but the editor, Jan Brenner, said something to the effect of the magazine is going to reflect what's what's the magazine is going to reflect the pop culture, the music and the pop culture of the current times. So if you just look at that statement, I mean, so you cannot really say that okay, 40 years down the line, still going to be listening to music that was from 1967. Obviously, the music around has changed. So you cannot say that okay, I'm going to be not covering this particular music. I mean, yes, there are certain. We have a very broad. We have a very broad mandate of what we'll cover. Like we don't really cover too much of Bollywood. I mean, otherwise we would have to cover every Hindi film that comes out. No, we don't really do that. It has to be slightly off the center of what regular Bollywood is. Then only would we cover Bollywood. We don't cover classical at all. We cover a little bit of jazz, but primarily it's all yes, like you said, rock, hip hop. It's about what is the janta around listening to. I mean, these are the genres that people are listening to around. So it's only fair that we cover all those things.
Uh, Now, Now, the music scene in general has, since a long time, the rock music scene particularly has, since a long time, been uh, the bane for female artists. Women do not usually get involved with rock music. You will see a lot of female singers in Bollywood and mainstream pop, but you never see them getting involved with rock music or metal. So, what is the reason behind that? If you could
Honestly, I have absolutely no idea. I mean, it's a question that I have probably talked about with friends, with colleagues earlier. You're right. I mean, there aren't too many. Even if you go to a rock concert or a metal concert, look at the audiences. Again, the number of females in the audience will be far, far lesser. It will be a minuscule proportion of the total audience. Uh, I don't know. I'm guessing that it's got something to do with what women like, their taste in music. Maybe maybe their tastes are not quite attuned to the sounds that rock or definitely metal offers.
okay. Um, so, what are the biggest issues that the music scene today faces? And if you could probably offer constructive criticism, that would be much better.
Okay. Biggest issues. Okay. I'm going to be rambling on a bit about this maybe. Uh, One, like I said, like I mentioned earlier.
Once again,
Sure.
like Kaka is oh planes up.
You want to shut the window? It might help a little bit.
Yeah, and it's already announced that we are here. I don't know what it's announcing again. We are going to have more guests. Yeah, sorry
Sure.
about that.
The,
The music problems.
okay.
Yeah, problems in the scene.
Yes, like I mentioned a little while back, I feel that even now there are a lot of bands which are coming out with music that's derivative. When I say derivative, I mean it can still be compared very. I mean, it's like a template that's taken up directly from a Western template. And my personal belief is that you don't need to do that. I mean, there are bands which have time and again shown us very emphatically that you don't need to be copying anybody. I mean, you take a Sharon Funk, or you take a Mother Jane, or you take a BL Raghu Dixit, Vasu Dixit. These guys are showing us that you don't really need to be necessarily copying a band or a certain sound to be successful. So that I feel is one thing. Um, the constructive criticism part being, look at these guys, take inspiration. I mean, take a look at the fact that there are takers for original music, original sounding music, as long as it's good. I mean, do not sit down and say that, hey, we are what we are. I mean, I've seen a lot of people come up with this attitude of this entire swagger that, hey, we are what we are. We will play what we want to. We will listen what we want to. But who are you to tell us? I mean, I don't know. Yeah, it's your life, fair enough. But I personally feel that you're growing as an artist if you're coming up with stuff that you can really be proud of, and you can say that anybody can listen to a Vasu Dixit and say, hey, that's Swaratma playing. But can we say that for every Indian rock band? I mean, I personally would love to see a time come when we can really say that hey, this band has got its own Indian sound to it. So that is one thing. The other problem being, and this I think is being solved right now, um, about getting bands known and getting them the gigs. Uh, there was a time when people relied on CDs, on physical music to earn money, which explains why we really don't have too many professional musicians. When I say professional, I mean people who are really working as a band day in day out, making money out of it. I mean, there'll be very few bands who do that full time. They'll still have their studios, or they'll still be doing their jingles, or they'll still be doing studio work, or worse, maybe not worse, or the other thing being they'll still have their day jobs. Somebody will be in advertising, somebody will be in corporate communication, whatever. So I would love for a scene to come where bands really can go out and say that, hey, I'm making money from my music, and this is just what I want to do. And I think that can be solved. That is being solved right now through the internet. I mean, when you look at what people like Counterculture or Grey and Saurian now are doing, they're really being able to distribute the music far and wide. They're asking people, I mean, or take Mother Jane again for that matter. I mean, when they released their album, they just put it up online. They said, if you want to pay, you pay. If you don't want to pay, don't pay, but listen to it any which way. And Suraj Mani, the singer of Mother Jane, he was mentioning to me that they actually made more money on that than they would have really made money if they were to give out physical CDs. So I think we are slowly but surely moving towards a scene where the money part will be taken care of. We need to stop looking at CD or your music as the part that will get in your music. I'm sorry, you need to stop looking at your music or the physical CDs as the thing that will get you money. It won't. It needs to be a visiting card. You take your visiting card. It needs to be a portfolio. Show your portfolio. People will get interested. They'll give you gigs, and gigs, live gigs, are where the money will roll in from. That's an eventuality that we will have to face. So we can just, I mean, I've seen a few people who have come up to me who've come to Rolling Stone, the office, and they said that, hey, listen, I've got this music, can you help us? I said, yeah, just leave behind the CD. No, we cannot leave behind the CD because I'm afraid somebody will steal it. You, while I really appreciate the mindset behind that, I would say that you really cannot be so paranoid about your own creative abilities. I mean, you need to be confident in yourself and your creative abilities to be able to say that, okay, this is a CD containing 6 songs. So what if somebody steals them? I'll come up with 12 more songs which are better. You need to be able to reach a point like that. That is one point. Third point, I really would love to see people embracing more forms of music. When I say that, I'm talking about the listeners. Uh, when I say embracing, I may not necessarily mean that you should be listening to all of them, but we should stop the dissing, we should stop the hate game. I mean, it's not helping any purpose. We go into any online forum, there's this entire thing about, oh, you listen to Justin Timberlake, you're gay. Big deal, man. He's making his own music, he's making money out of it. If, if he's making money out of it, that means there are enough people in the world who are listening to him who like his music. Fair enough. I mean, I don't personally like his music, but respect him as a musician, leave him there. You need not diss him. So the same is what I've seen in Indian bands. I mean, there is entire inter-band rivalries which are taken to a certain extent, which is not necessary at all. So that is one thing that needs to stop. I mean, understand that there is a market for each genre of music. Understand that everyone is creating music and just respect their creativity. You need not follow it, but respect it. Do not diss it. Yeah, that's all about I can think of right now.
Okay, last question from me at least is what are the future plans for Rolling Stones?
Uh, Rolling Stone in India, as of right now, we just about finished what, 1.5 years or so. In fact, as we speak, um, tonight my editor and my marketing director are leaving for New York. There's going to be an annual Rolling Stone conference where uh, the the editors and marketing directors from 13 countries, all the country editions are going to come together. It's an annual thing that happens, uh, which is where your goals for the next year kind of are defined. So far, if you notice, we haven't had too many Indian covers. That's that's primarily because of a mandate that is coming from Rolling Stone USA, which says that they're very finicky about what goes on the cover because it's the Rolling Stone brand name that's at stake. So they kind of wait for a while to see how the new country edition is faring, how they're handling things too. Then they kind of loosen up a bit. So hopefully, once this conference is done in New York, we should have a bit more idea about how we want to do our own covers. I mean, I would like to really see a lot more Indian bands on the cover. Yes, so I'm guessing starting 2010, early 2010 or late, maybe even late 2009, you'll see a lot more Indian bands on the cover rather than just international bands. That is as far as the editorial thing goes. Um, Events wise, like I said, I mean, we already have a lot many events happening, live events, live properties, which cater to different genres in a way. We have the Open Mind Night, which happens at Gen Z, which I think has been a huge success. It's giving a lot of people the chance to just come and jam, just come and have fun. That's something that I really love, and that I would like to add to that list of successes that I was telling about. You have acoustic adventures, which we're doing with Uday Benegal. Uday is going to be curating the entire thing in a sense. He's going to be sifting through CDs. He's going to be looking at people. He's going to be listening to gigs. He's going to be listening to CDs, going to gigs, checking out which are the singer-songwriters that he would really like to promote through this property. The idea is to kind of make this acoustic adventures a touring thing, where we right now we start off on the 16th of September in Bombay, where there's these two young artists, Nikhil D'Souza and Gauri, both singer-songwriters from Bombay. Um, they'll be performing along with the Bowling Kalapas, the Sudesh band. The idea is to kind of take this format across the country. If you go to Bombay, you take, say, a Sajid Akbar. You go to Calcutta, you take another band or a singer-songwriter. That is one thing that we're really excited about right now. Sometime in the future, yes, we would like to really go on to bigger concerts maybe, but as of right now, we are pretty happy, content, and we have our hands full with what the events that we're doing. And we think there's really a way to connect with the audience, really help the musicians connect with the audience at the ground level. I mean, we could getting probably an international band. Yes, we would really love to get a say a Dream Theater down. It could probably even be done, but I would really get my Indian bands going first, and then probably look at something larger than this.
Oh, you have any questions?
Uh, you said you yeah, you said you shifted from Baroda to Bombay
Right.
in early 2000. Uh, you have been regularly going for some shows or the other before joining Rolling Stones, right? iRocks, Live Wires, and stuff like that. So, can you share some experience or some incident that that you remember from any event?
Any specific event?
No, nothing like that. Something that happened on stage. You
Yeah.
saw a particular band, play something very brilliant or play something really horrible, and then come up with something really brilliant. Stuff like that. Something which they did, which you didn't expect. Something an experience that you cannot forget. That's
See, one experience is, like I said earlier, the boat gig. I mean, I thought it was a really awesome thing where you got two or three bands, put them into the ferry. You know the ferries that go from Gateway of India to Elephanta.
Yeah.
So these guys just hired one of those ferries. The bands were put up there in the ferry, and they cleared out a small area in the front. And the bands were really rocking out. At one point, you're really scared that the ferry will sink because of all the stamping and the jumping. But that was good fun. I mean, I would really love to see something like that happen again. I mean, it kind of takes music, puts it in a completely new context, a very interesting context. I know a lot of people came for the boat gig simply because, hey, it's on the boat. They might not have heard of these bands. They were not probably necessarily big fans of these bands, but it is just good fun.
anything else?
No, I'm done. Thank you.